All right. Welcome to our latest session of Ironsworn. This is episode 9, which I bring up only because that first little series of Ironsworn that I did that's still available on YouTube, of course, only ever made it to 10 episodes. On episode 10, my character died a pretty sudden death, though not where it seemed like it was going to happen. It started off like really tense, and then it was looking like I was going to get out of a bad situation, and then died on episode 10. And I remember a long time back we were pondering whether or not we'd be able to survive longer. Whether or not this game would last longer. And we're getting up to that point now. We're almost matching. Man, we're definitely off to a bit of some technical difficulties tonight. So just warning you now, there is a chance that you may lose the picture of my lovely associate here, Blinking Firefly. We may go down to just voice, depending on how connection continues. But thankfully, I think we can get by on just voice.
Should be good.
How are you doing tonight, by the way?
Me?
Yeah.
You'll
be able to
doing pretty
respond
good.
fastest.
little tired, little out of it, but good.
But ready to rejoin a far harsher land.
Yes.
A land
in the comfort of my own home.
Yeah, a land of iron and ice, which is what I've decided to call this little section of the story. Trying to come up with a name for it. It seemed to have a nice kind of short, brief. It's winter, it's cold, and it's Ironsworn,
which isn't too far from my current weather conditions.
I was gonna say you
outside.
got snow today.
Yeah, it's a winter wonderland out there.
So you can really put yourself in that mentality of, just imagine going outside dressed as you are right now, and that's like a good version of how it is in the Ironlands around you.
I got to use my snow pants today.
Did you? And as I recall, I believe, character-wise, you're also, you're wearing winter gear. You've got the equivalent of snow pants. We managed to work that out last time.
Oh, yeah. Chandra or whatever.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly how it worked, whether it was that you found it scavenging, or I think Chandra maybe had some extras or something. I can't remember, but something along those lines. I know one way or another you are properly equipped for the winter ahead of you. For a brief summary of where we are right now, our two characters. Only one of us has a physical body right now. That's still the case. I'm really hoping we can make some good progress on that this time. But Blinking Firefly's character Grae is the only one who still exists as like a physical human person. My character Flynn exists as kind of a mote of light and a necklace. We're working on dealing with that. And where we last left off, after having lost about a year of time in kind of an alternate dreamland, you came back to this frozen, flooded land and ran into this Chandra, who wants you, as I recall, let's move over to your sheet right now. Because we wound up swearing a vow to help Chandra find Muko, the wizard whom she holds a grudge against. She's vengeful to Muko for... We haven't explored exactly what happened, but we know that she is somehow a little bit disfigured on her... Like, her face shows the mark of magic gone wrong, and she wants him to pay the price. And you swore you would help her do this. It's a journey in progress right now. And as I recall, the plan was to head to that closest big town. I don't believe we wound up giving any details or name for it, because I think there was like a bad roll that suggested you didn't know a lot about it. You just knew where it was, and so we were going to figure out more about the town when we got there, is I believe what happened. And so you're undertaking this journey with Chandra along with you. You've managed to kind of bond a little bit, not in the mechanical sense, but gotten closer together. You one-upped her with some swordsmanship, and managed to show her that you can hold your own. And where the moment where we last left off, if I'm remembering correctly, is the moment when on these travels you cracked through some ice as you were crossing a frozen river, and Chandra was able to pull you out of the water, and I think we left off with like we managed to build a fire and like get you dried off, and you were making camp. I think that was. I didn't go back and watch the video. It was. I think we can assume that happened. I can't remember whether or not we rolled for it, but I think we did. I think y'all have made camp, and I think you've made camp and gotten the benefits for it. Just looking at your stats and everything, they seem all generally in a decentish range. I think camp might have happened. So yeah, we've got that vow going on of getting Chandra to find Muko, which we set as formidable. We put it as a vow that's probably going to take a little while to do. It's not going to be just as easy as getting to the city. That's probably just the first step of many. So we have that vow ongoing. We have the mostly completed find out what happened to Flint vow that you're like just kind of a moment away really from finishing. I believe we talked about the last part was really having a conversation about like specifically what happened and talking it out. Which that we could easily resolve this session. That's just like one scene. Hell, we could do it now around the campfire if you had wanted to.
Yeah.
Sure. And then we have our more ongoing stuff. The long-term, you'll discover the meaning behind your glowing hands, which you've made some progress on, but it is a long, long goal to work on. That's something we might make progress on, but definitely not going to solve today. And I guess potentially solvable, though we haven't made a lot of progress on yet, we keep getting sidetracked with other problems, is I will uncover the mystery of the glowing obelisks. We were making our way towards them, and boy, did we get off in the wrong direction. We've been working on all of our other stuff. But I ask you now...
These must be some really tall obelisks.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely the way I envision them, is that these things... Probably when they get there, I imagine they would dwarf... Like, the way I've been imagining them anyway as a player is, like, they would dwarf any structure we even as modern humans know. Even that tower in Dubai, whatever it's called, I think these things are, like, truly cyclopean. Like, they would boggle the mind to actually see them up close, because they're just... They reach the heavens. They just... It would be like seeing a space elevator, but... probably doesn't actually go all the way to space and into geocentric orbit, but just like huge and wide, and that's why we can see them from just so far out.
So far away. That's crazy.
Do I play Pathfinder or D&D? Yeah, I've done some amount of both of them. I've got a history of both. Not completely my style of game at this point, but I've had plenty of fun with both and still do plenty of both of them. But yeah, Blink, are you ready to start off session 9?
I'm ready.
You're ready. All right. Well, if you're good with it, I'd love to finish out that vow yours real quick, and indeed like have that scene like at camp or something where we can finally, if you think it's something your character would do, we can finally talk about and finish out that vow. I'd love to give you some experience. Neither of our characters have gotten any experience when we've played 9 goddamn sessions. I want to give us some experience by finishing a vow.
That was the vow that I would vow to help Chandra find her. Is it Chandra or Chandra?
Let's go with Chandra.
Chandra.
Yeah.
That I would help her find Muko.
Well, that one we can finish as well, but I meant just the one that you almost have done, the find out what happened to Flint. We're all but complete.
Oh yeah, that one.
We just haven't talked about it.
I thought that one was complete.
No, you filled in progress a few times, and in theory, I know we talked about it at one point whether or not what we had done was enough to test it. And at the time, anyway, you said that thought it still really needed to at least, since the vow literally is find out what happened to Flint, that we needed to talk about it, or otherwise you needed to find out specifically like what happened to me, how did I get there, that sort of thing. But yeah, I imagine that as we start off then, it's the having fallen in the river forced your party of you and Chandra, and to a lesser extent, me and my little mote of light that she's not specifically aware of.
Did you feel that at all?
Oh, that's
falling in the water.
That's a good question, actually. Let's
I wonder if you noticed anything.
Let's ask the Oracle to set the kind of like the tone of how I would be acting during the scene. Yeah, let's... I don't know, and when we don't know, it can be helpful to randomly generate an answer by asking the Oracle. Let's find out. Did falling in water that icy somehow translate over to my experience somehow in the as a mote of just kind of energy? Let's see. That's a good question. All right, we are... I'm using some of the newly done character sheet stuff on Roll20. Finally loaded up fully. All right, so we just set this as a difficulty, like a likelihood. I think that honestly this could go either way. It's like a 50-50 shot. It'll tell us something about the world, but I don't really have any horse in the race, and I don't think either one is more likely or not. I think it could totally be, certain types of effects of the world, like extreme cold, translate through. So yeah, let's just set this at 50-50, find out what happens. I believe I don't even have to say which one is which. It'll just figure it out on my own and show up down below. Let's see. I was doing some pre-rolling to test it out.
Gotcha.
There we go. Yes. So the answer to this is yes. Apparently, cold that extreme seeps through, and I feel it in whatever form I have. I think it starts... Okay, well, that being the case, I think the full answer to this is that it's also harmful. Granted, I don't have a body anymore. As I've set myself as having 0 health. You want to play this? Well, you're in luck, Sporty Ron. You can actually follow along. It is a free game, or rather, pay what you want game. Go to ironswornrpg.com right now. You can grab a copy of it, check it out. I heartily support it. It's a fantastic game. Yeah, go check it out. So yeah, I don't actually have a health track at this point. So yeah, I guess it's probably doesn't make all that much sense. And it's not like I messed up a roll or anything, so no need to be needlessly cruel to my character. We'll just, in a non-mechanical sense, yeah, I'm just absolutely frigid. And, I think you can hear shuddering kind of sounds in your mind. Like obviously I don't have teeth to clack together. You wouldn't hear chattering teeth, but just that same sort of, I guess I don't have an anatomy that you would hear the other kinds of, or anything like that, but there's, kind of a feeling in your mind in the way that I communicate that just, you can feel that kind of distress, I think, and that, as I'm, warming up by the fire, or, no, I'm probably not warming up by the fire, because I'm such a tiny thing just inside your, on a necklace, that the fire probably isn't reaching me nearly as much as it's warming your body. So yeah, let's start with that, where, you're warming by the fire.
I feel like it would reach you.
Well, I think it can if you put the necklace closer to the fire or something, but that otherwise, in the same way that, my necklace, if I were sitting by a fire, probably wouldn't get nearly as having the feeling of, getting warm as the rest of my body, just because not as much of the heat is hitting it.
I'll tuck you in my shirt.
oh my. That'll work. Thank you. I can't explain it, but it was like bones that I don't have were getting chilled. What?
It's okay. I sensed you were cold.
I wouldn't have... to be honest, I wouldn't have thought that it would translate over like that. I thought I was more separated from the world than that. Though, I'll admit that's... I see it as a beacon of hope. If I can feel that cold, then maybe there's a chance we can get me back to a body. Perhaps I'm not done with this physical world.
Yeah, apparently you're not immune.
I certainly never was immune back when I had a body. Bastardly winters always got to me. Out on patrols, it made my bones ache. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's something of less a physical effect and more a memory. The mind that is within this mode of light so remembers the feeling of that cold. Maybe I'm feeling it in a way, if that makes sense.
I guess so. I don't know exactly what you're experiencing in that necklace. Or pendant, I guess I should say.
And let's remember, of course, that Chandra is here as well.
Yeah, is she hearing...
Well,
has she been hearing me chattering to my necklace?
I think we established in the past that you can also communicate back through thought. You don't have to speak out loud. So if it would probably more like she feels like you're just being quiet.
Oh, okay. I thought it just went one way, like I could hear him. But
well, I can't remember if we established that or not. Do you want to determine?
I thought that was.
Do you want?
Because we. Yeah.
Do you want to determine it randomly or just go with like I thought that you could just communicate back that same way. I think it probably happened last time.
I thought we determined that I would be talking back. Like that
you
was
had
the
to
only
talk?
way, and it would create circumstances where other characters would be like, "What is going on?"
Oh, and you know what?
Is she crazy?
I think you're right that you may have had to like whisper or something. Well, I'm certainly cool with that. Sporty Ron, the site is ironswornrpg.com. And Amanda, I swear, much as it probably looks complicated right now, when we get into the actual rolling and stuff, it's actually relatively simple. It's a pretty streamlined game. God, in so many ways. But yes, an unrecognizable character sheet is going to be a little bit tricky. Okay, so then, yeah. I assume then you're trying to kind of like hide it and whisper it a little bit, or are you just out, like, are you willing to just talk it out loud and you don't care?
I think I sometimes forget that she can't hear Flynn. So
you've gotten so used to it?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, then let's...
So I probably get louder than I intend to be at times. She probably thinks that I'm crazy.
I mean, I think she'd definitely ask you about it then. Like, now that you're journeying together, she's pulled you out of the river. Like you're bonding over shared experience together. I feel like she would, at that point, like once she notices, she'd bring it up and just be like, "Who are you talking to?" Or no, it probably wouldn't be. I mean, I know she's kind of a curt person, but since you're getting a little bit more friendly, I'm trying to think whether she would say more like that or if she'd just be like, "Are you talking to me?" Yeah, I think she'd just be more confused by it. And be like, Are you talking to me? If you are, I can't. What are you talking about?
And I just say, no. I mean, yes. I mean, yeah.
You're
talking to myself.
Do you do that a lot?
Sometimes. I don't know if I should tell her. I feel like we've built up a lot of trust, but I still...
Totally up to you.
Okay, if I tell you something, will you promise not to tell anyone else?
She like looks around at the woods and like the fire, this fire, this emptiness, and we can hear like these the winds just kind of. Now, granted, we did talk about the howling of wolves in the distance, but so yeah, she'll like look around and be like, "Well, I won't tell the wolves if that's what you're worried about."
Okay. I was traveling with a companion, and long story short, he almost died, but is now living in my pendant.
I want to find out. I think this is a good opportunity to make our first like character roll of the night to find out whether or not let's see if she believes you. Well, I guess the important thing is it's not really a character roll because it's not like you're trying to get something out of her. It's really just more of a does she believe you or does she not? Like it's not like you would have to pay the price or something if she doesn't. So it's not really worth a roll in that sense. But we should probably just Oracle-wise find out again, like kind of randomly generated. does she believe you? Or does she think you're completely nuts? And either way, she might ask follow-up questions. It'll just kind of tenor the way that she does. Amanda says, yeah, wear the pendant and see. That's true. We've never had anybody else wear the pendant before. We don't know whether it's our bond of you having pulled me out of the dream world that allows me to communicate this way, or if it's just wearing it. We don't know.
I feel like it's the bond or the
bond.
Because we both have that blue glowing power thing going on.
Yeah.
I think that's what connects us. But
well,
I could be wrong.
Well, anyway, let's find out whether or not she thinks you're just crazy, or I guess she wouldn't have an opinion on it until she asked one follow-up question, because all you've said is that you had a companion and he almost died. You haven't said, and that's, I'm talking to him, he's right here in the necklace. She'd be like, well, what, oh, this would be a good way to find out, to bridge into what happened, is because she's going to be asking, so what happened to him?
So,
oh man, kind of I don't know if you've got the stream up, but as you see, we've got our first little spot of we had some technical difficulties on your camera, but it seems to have resolved. It's kind of working through.
Yeah, it's flickering on my end.
Yeah, we have our technical difficulties. Yeah, no, it's fine. We've still got your voice, which is the important part. So yeah, she'd say, what happened to him? Because now she's starting to think oh, maybe this is time to share stories around the fire. She's like, okay, scoots up a little closer, intrigued.
You remember that cave that we were in?
Yeah, the one I forced you to take me back to. Oh, yeah. Wait, is that why you didn't want to go back?
Yeah, it was kind of cursed because of Muko. Not his fault, of course, Muko. But I mean, it wasn't intentional. It was his fault, but it wasn't his intention.
From what I know about Muko, it was definitely his fault.
Oh.
Bastard.
Well, yeah, my traveling companion kind of got stuck in the dream world. There was a dream world, yeah, and he died. His real life body died, but he was still alive in the dream world. And Muko helped me save his soul, kind of, sort of. Anyway, he's in my necklace now.
All right, now we're definitely at the point where we need to find out, does she think that you're being honest, or does she think you are absolutely crazy? She's heard plenty enough to start making that decision. So, chat, you can help me out here. Let's, what do you guys think? One of the ways that we address situations like this, when we're not, making a roll for the character so much as just figuring out randomly, is something true or not, is we ask the Oracle, do you think it is almost certain that she thinks, that Grae is crazy? Likely that she thinks Grae is crazy? 50-50? Unlikely? Or small chance? What do you think? How likely do you think this is that she just thinks you're crazy?
I don't know. I think if she's aware of what Muko is capable of,
and she is. Okay, so Amanda says small chance. Okay. Yeah, she is aware of Muko, and also I want to make clear that I don't think any version of this she'll think you're lying. I think she trusts you. It's just a matter of whether or not she thinks she thinks you believe this no matter what. It's just whether or not she thinks that's true. Okay, yeah, we got a consensus on small chance. So she will probably believe you then. There's only a 10% chance that she won't. Let's find out. Yeah. You're being nicer than I would, but I'm going to go with it. Right, no. And the way we phrased it was, does she think you're crazy? No. So cool, yeah, I think at that point she would want, if she does believe you, yeah, I know, it's probably going to be that way for a while. I can, here, hold on. I'm going to just, for now, I'm going to turn off your camera, just so it's not distracting. There we go. I'll just get rid of that.
What's it doing?
It's doing all sorts of the flickery colors and stuff. If you ever notice it get back and like be okay, let me know and I'll turn it back on. But I'm just gonna keep it off.
Okay.
So yeah, since she does believe you, I think the next thing she would definitely want to do is she'd be very curious about that necklace. Be like, wait, so she scoots a little bit closer. That's, or I guess you said you tucked it inside your clothes. She's like pointing at the chain, just like, he's on that. Wait, I have seen. Yeah, your necklace, it glows a little bit, doesn't it? I swear I've seen that.
Oh, yeah.
Can I see it?
I'm a bit too protective of it right now. I don't.
Yeah,
think
she's
I
like
can...
reaching towards it a little bit, and yeah, she's like, oh, okay, and I think Flint in your head would say something along the lines like, probably a good idea. Still a little bit of a stranger. I don't exactly like my chances of finding a body if somebody steals me.
But now you can see why I want to find Muko so badly.
Oh, you think he can do anything with a positive outcome? She turns and like reveals again the side of her face that's all like scarred up from foul magic backlash and everything, and it's just like, that hasn't exactly been my experience. He may, as you mentioned, he may not intend harm, but he sure does make it everywhere he goes. You saying that he managed to drag your friend out of a dream world of his own creation doesn't exactly change my opinion on that. So how do you wind up there? And how'd you get him out?
Well, it was the only way to save him since he died in the real world and got trapped in the dream world. It was the only thing that Muko seemed to be able to come up with. But something tells me he can still help. We were under a lot of pressure.
Yeah. Flynn is just like, no kidding. You know, I never told you about exactly how I died down there, did I? Heard you mentioning it to her.
You didn't.
To be honest, I feel a little remorse around it. Not just because I died, of course, but I died very selfishly. I feel like I kind of saw a bad reflection of myself in that moment. Something that I don't think you would have... In the little amount of time I've known you, I don't feel like you would have done it. And maybe you would have survived as a result. But there were other creatures down there in the depths of the caves. And I think since you've been listening, like, you've probably been quiet again, and Chandra is just like, is he talking to you?
I nod to her.
She's like trying to like get her ear closer to it, and it's like, I can't hear him.
It's weird. It's like telepathy. I can't explain it. I'm not really sure why I can hear him and you can't.
Oh, she can't hear me? Well, that's a relief. I won't have to speak as quietly anymore. But there were other creatures down there in the cave. Mutants, in a sense. Horrid abominations that had been utterly disfigured by some manner of foul magic. They seem to have gone quite feral in a sense. Well, anyway, they were after a key that I had taken. I found it. I didn't mean to steal it. I didn't know it was anybody else's. I didn't know there was anybody else in the cave at the time, but I could not find it within me to give that key up. I didn't even want to, but I feel like even if I had, I don't think I would have been able to. I did everything in my power to try and selfishly just guard it for myself. I literally tried to swallow that key. Just so that it would be mine. And, well, in selfishly guarding that key for myself, I wasn't able to defend even my own body. I was more protecting the key, and I got swarmed and utterly covered by them and horridly ripped apart. My flesh torn from my body. It wasn't long before I was gone, but was not exactly the ending that I had ever envisioned for myself. But then it wasn't an ending. Because my eyes woke up, but they were a light on the other side. And, well, most of the rest you know about. I wandered in that area and fended for myself. The one thing of particular note, that key, up until you pulled me out of the dream world, I still had it. It came with me. And I wonder, of course, whether it'll be there or if I ever come back.
I'm sorry, Flynn. But we'll get you a body.
Do they have therapists in this realm? Because you now owe her character like 4 sessions. Yeah, these will be the next 4 sessions of the game. Will just be vows about like, I'm sorry, I'll make it better. You know, I found it's no ordinary key, of course. Even beyond the pull that it seems to have and traveling through the worlds. Before you found me, I had had a chance to analyze it. Looking over it with my extra senses, as you've seen me do. I looked beyond the veil of the magic and saw its inner workings. And I've determined that there's something... This is a key that can open any door. Any door. In fact, I feel like if you had the key on your end, it would maybe even be able to open the door of my being held within your necklace. Who knows? A wickedly powerful item, but I use the word wickedly by choice. Any door that it opens will have a foul outcome on the other side. It will bypass the lock, but something undesirable will be on the other side every time. Sometimes it may be worth it. And so I certainly still see it as a very useful item to hold and keep upon me.
Wait, would he have this with him in the necklace? Like, how?
I don't know. I think that at this point, like, everything about him is part of just this energy. Like, it's all... There's nothing physical about it, so, like, the essence of the key might be there, but it's kind of useless right now. In its current form.
Because I imagined, like, just his soul was there. And, like... naked. Naked soul.
Naked soul. Well, the way that we had kind of described, like, in some of the sessions where you weren't there, when I went into the... when I went into the Dreamlands, we determined that we had the key there. I think we determined that randomly. That we kind of have learned that there are certain items with enough magical power that kind of cross veils like that. They can exist in both worlds. And so it can be pulled into the dream world and presumably out. And so I think when you pulled in the same way, when you've pulled my body into this necklace out of the dream world and into the physical world, there's at least a chance that certain things like that and a more prized possession, to be honest, that I don't don't know if I've talked to you about either, but there was a lantern that I found in the dream worlds that I think might have similar kinds of. There's a chance it can cross beyond the veil, and Flint is certainly hoping it does, for reasons that we discovered. But most importantly, I think with this whole rundown, find out what happened to Flint. I think that qualifies for a milestone on that.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say that there's not really anything more that you can learn about Flint. Like I would struggle to think of another way to get a milestone. And I think we should probably resolve that vow. The very first vow we've ever resolved in the game. Unless you can think of anything else that's just like, actually, what if I still need this thing? Or I can't think of anything. No. What is his favorite food? Yes, yes, clearly you know what happened to Flint in that moment, but there's still just that one little more thing you need to know about Flint. Like how many hairs did he lose? And no. So when we hit a milestone in this game, you fill in progress tracks. That's basically all the sheet is. And there's a little bit of a press your luck sort of mechanic in this, where now, since we don't really have anything else that we want to move forward on that vow, we're going to resolve it. And the way that we do that is we're going to roll a couple of dice, compare it to how many of those boxes she has filled in, and that's going to determine how well this goes. Like, how did the vow go? So the move that we're making is called Fulfill Your Vow. I'm nearly certain. I'm scrolling down to it now. Yes, Fulfill Your Vow. So when you achieve what you believe to be the fulfillment of your vow, which I think we can all agree has happened, roll a challenge dice and compare to your progress. Momentum is ignored on this roll. So you have filled in 8 boxes on here. So we're going to be comparing these dice to 8, and that will determine whether it's a strong hit, a weak hit, or a miss. So let's see here. I'm just going to roll 2d10s. A 6 and a 4 are both lower than 8 individually, so you get a strong hit on this. You have resolved this vow as best as you possibly can. Well, technically not as best you possibly could. You could have gotten a critical, but in the top category, a strong hit, your quest is complete. Mark experience. Cool. So basically just nothing bad happened. Like, the thing happens the way you want it to. Anything less than that, there's kind of like some repercussions or addenda on there. But you didn't have any of those, so you're all good. Oh man, yeah, I just checked over. Camera is unfortunately still being all poopy, so I'll just leave it. Is it? Yeah.
I'm not seeing what is it doing?
It's just all noise. It's colorful noise.
It's not doing anything on my end.
Can you try toggling it off and on one more time? It might fix it. Let's see. Because I'd love to have you join me. Let's see. Hey, there we go. Okay. Yeah, it seems to be back. Hey. Okay, let me toggle you back on. And there you are. We have you in non-noise form. So, fulfilled vow. Let's clear that out. You get experience for it. That was a dangerous vow, so you'll get 2 experience. In theory, you could trade that in right now to upgrade one of your assets, or if you save up for 3, you could buy a new one. Let's take a look at your assets real quick before we move on to see if there's any of these where you might just want the upgrade right now, because you could benefit from it right away. So when you upgrade it, you get those other, like you see there's those dots that aren't filled in yet. You could choose one of those. So like on Herbalist, right now you have that top healing ability of when you attempt to heal, there's the ways that you can make healing better, but you could also get, when you heal a companion, ally, or other character, and you score a hit, take +1 spirit or +1 momentum. So it just makes you better every time you heal somebody else by a little bit. Or you could get, when you make camp and choose the option to partake, you can use your supplies to create a restorative meal. If you do, and you and your companions may take... Oh, okay, so... just another way to gain back health when making camp. So you could just have really nutritious food, I guess, that you're good at making. Let's see, you can upgrade Wayfinder.
Ooh.
So you could get, when you secure an advantage or gather information by carefully surveying the landscape or scouting ahead. Oh, okay. So you could be better at, even better at helping us get to locations. by...
I had a horse.
Yeah.
I don't know where he is.
It's true. Our animal companions are currently not really available to upgrade since they're not with us. I have a raven. She has a horse, but they left during the year that we were in a kind of place where time flows differently. We were going a lot longer than we anticipated, and our animals left. We haven't found them yet. In fact, it might be worth...
How long was it? I didn't write
roughly
that
a year.
Okay.
Yes, she had a
Can
horse.
I make that a vow?
Yeah, totally.
To find my horse?
In fact, I recommend maybe replacing this with like a troublesome vow just to get the horse back.
Okay. So I feel like Holmick would be mad at me if I lost it.
Oh, totally.
It's his best steed.
So you could be better at kind of traveling, but when you take some time to kind of scout out ahead, you'd have to like separate from the group to do it, but we would, as a group, travel better. And or you could upgrade, like when you start out in Vow to safely guide someone on a perilous journey, you may re-roll any dice. Okay, so like when you are truly like acting as a wayfinder and you're doing that as a vow, you'll do that really well. But that'll be a little bit more like specific to certain circumstances. So yeah, if you want, you can get some upgrades, or you could wait for it and decide later, or like save up to buy a whole new asset.
Okay. I'm going to wait for it.
Wait for it? Okay, cool. We'll keep things moving. I don't have a quick way to mark that you have 2 experience up there, but we'll just remember you've got 2. And yeah, let me clear that vow. Is that something you'd like to do right now? Swear to get your horse?
Yes.
Back? Okay. So let's replace that real quick then. So what does that look like as you feel this kind of... Because swearing on iron is this kind of mystical sort of thing. Like when you get this closure of having found out what happened to Flint and setting out to, when you did the thing that you set out to do and bound yourself mystically to get done, I feel like you can feel it in your soul, this kind of closure and sense of fulfillment, like far beyond just like an accomplishment in day-to-day life. And I believe way back in session 1, I was the one who taught you about swearing on iron. So this has got to be the first time you've ever felt that.
All I can think of is I was really wishing we had a horse. Like, I don't want to travel on foot anymore, especially in this weather.
Yeah, maybe that's when when the conversation dies down a little bit and you just have an opportunity to look around at the horrid, winter around you. It's just cold.
Like maybe it's snowing, maybe it's getting worse, and
yeah,
just shivering. And I'm like, we have to leave soon, and I just start thinking, maybe we're about to leave.
And how are the animals doing? Like maybe that's also the thought. It's like,
yeah. Just really thinking about Holmick, thinking about how he would be so devastated if I didn't bring Thornbury back.
And that would be a good reason to like fully like make a vow about it, because you're like you owe it to him. Like it's a matter of kind of like honor. And so what is the iron that you swear on then? Is it the, I imagine there might be, a small iron pot or something as when you made camp, or you could do it on your sword again, as we've done in the past.
Yeah, I'll just do it on my sword, because that's the most obvious choice, I guess.
All right.
Since it's right with me at all times.
All right, so what is the vow you swear, specifically?
I vow to find Thornbury.
How to find Thornbury. Now, man, I sure would like to find my raven as well. All right, let's...
Do you want me to add that in there? I vow to find Thornbury.
No, this is your vow, and for the reason you gave about like why it's important, that makes far more like you don't owe Holmick my raven, so I think it makes sense. You vow to find Thornbury. Maybe we'll get lucky and they happen to stay together, but
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe
Maybe we'll find
maybe
out.
we'll get 2 for 1.
We'll find out at the time. I think we'll randomly roll that, but I think that sounds like just a troublesome vow. I think we talked about in previous sessions how it's not something we want to just like spend, sessions and sessions making this huge quest. It's just like, yeah, let's just get him back and then we'll be done.
Yeah.
So this is a troublesome quest. It'll be worth 1 XP when it's done. And let's make the swear an iron vow move to see how you're getting started on this. So, when you swear upon iron to complete a quest, write your vow and give the quest a rank. We've done that. Then roll plus heart. If you make this vow to a person or community with whom you share a bond, add +1.
I feel like it is kind of with Holmick.
I was gonna say, like, it's almost like you are swearing a vow to Holmick, but I'd be willing to say, even though he's not physically here, since it is about, it's like you're promising this to Holmick, and that's what's driving you to, like, really want to make sure it's fulfilled. I'd say that can, like, if you have a bond with Holmick, then I think that counts.
Yeah.
Because you're swearing it to Holmick at a distance, in a sense. So then, yeah, you'll get a +1 on that. Which means you're going to be rolling heart with a +1, so basically as good as it gets for you. This will likely start off well, but who knows. This is our first non-progress move, like real roll of the game. We know that those have often been misses to begin with, but you've found ways to break that trend. All right, heart with a +1. Let's see how we do it. Wow, one of those challenge dice was really high. It's only a weak hit, not because you rolled poorly, but just there was a 9 on that challenge dice. You have to exceed it. So it's a weak hit. At least it's not a miss. What that means is that you're determined, but you begin your quest with more questions than answers. Take +1 momentum and envision what you do to find a path forward. So, yeah, you get a little bit of momentum, but indeed, like, you're looking out on the big landscape, and it's been a year. Like, it's enough time that your horse could be anywhere. Who knows where to start? But you've made it a vow, and you may now start making progress towards it in whatever way you see fit. I've given you your additional momentum, and I need to clear that vow progress. Boo doo 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 doo. All right. So we finish up camping, and yeah, let's move on, make something happen. We're about 45 minutes in, and we've just had our long camping scene. Let's get some action going.
Yes.
So I think it's about time that we set off on the next step of this journey to the close town. Also, only a troublesome journey away. Let's see. Okay, that's right. I was looking at your Wayfinder ability. It's pretty specific about how it works. So it'll just be a regular one. So let's see. Undertake a journey is a wits move, I believe. Let's see here. That's right. Okay, so yeah. Plus wits. You are not setting off from a community from which you share a bond, so none of that. Just a regular old wits roll, which you're decent at. Let's see how it works. Get our first kind of new moment of the game. All right, another weak hit. Continuing to roll pretty well, but just the challenge dice are indeed challenging you. So a weak hit on Undertake a Journey means you reach a waypoint and mark progress, but you suffer -1 supply. So it's just, it's hardy trudging through the snow. It's burning calories. You're probably losing some stuff in it. Just every once in a while, like, the gear is suffering a little bit, but hey, that's why we've got the supply. We can take it. A question on a kind of metagame level is, do you as a player care too much about this journey and, like, really making every waypoint like a big moment, or are we more interested in once you get to the town and what that might lead to? Because we could just, like, blast through this real quick, just make a couple of rolls, and not really spend all that much time unless something goes, like, wrong. Or we can play out moment by moment and be like, okay, and then in this step of the journey we do this, and, like, what's your preference?
Let's just roll to see if we make it to the town.
Just get to that town. Okay, let's just.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll trudge ahead. I'm not even going to determine what this waypoint is. Then we'll just know like we're at a waypoint of some kind. It's a stopping point along the way. We made it. We used up some supply, but since we don't really care that much about the journey, it's not interesting enough. We won't detail it. Let me just mark down the supply before I forget. Move that down by 1. And let's make another wits roll and see, does that go a little bit better? We mark our progress, which is on that very last line. Boop, boop, boop. Just pretend those are fully filled in because I don't feel like messing with them right now. All right, one more wits roll, and then it'll likely be time to just reach the destination. You'll be basically there. Oh, but on that, unless something goes wrong. Look at that. We had a something goes wrong. We had a miss here. So, much as I wanted to just trudge ahead, the game has said otherwise. We need to find out what happened here. So, on a miss, you are waylaid by a perilous event. Pay the price. Now, we already had you falling into an icy river. This time, I think, again, we need to find out, like, what is this? What happened here? I'm going to roll on action and theme to get an idea, a little point of inspiration of, like, what went wrong this time? What is our perilous event? I don't think it always has to be physically perilous, but just, there's a bit of a turn here before you're able to, as you're kind of getting closer to the town, something has gone on. So I'm going to roll action and theme, so we get reject and battle. So I think, what if there were somebody that's like has run from a like deserted a battle, like or like deserted their post or something like that, got too scared, they've deserted and they've run into you and just assume, like on that kind of fight or flight, the assumption is that you're part of the like the patrol that would be chasing after them. It would be as if like they were a member of the like Knight's Guard and like they've been chased after to, you know, for abandoning their posts. Something along those lines, where this person immediately assumes that you are there to collect them and bring them back to something where they do not want to be. They're terrified of going back. We've got to make this perilous to us, not them. So what if... I mean, we can certainly do the obvious, which is that their fight or flight kicks in and they fight, but I don't want it to... I hate making it so where a perilous event is always like, and then somebody fights you. Like, that just gets boring.
What if we stumbled across him? Like, maybe he was at a campfire trying to get warm, and we stumbled across him. Maybe just trying to ask a question, you know...
Well, we need to make sure that this is a miss. This is bad for us somehow. We need to make it perilous to us.
Right, but as soon as he sees us, then he gets into that fight or flight mode. And
yeah, well, that's
immediately attacks.
Well, that's what I mean. Is like I want to see if I can think of something that's like. I hate to always make it about just like somebody that then fights you. If I can find something else here. Let's see. It's certainly an easy backup to go with. What if... Okay, well, what about this? What if instead there is, like, because they are so startled, and we talked about having that campfire and everything, what if in this kind of commotion, accidentally, like, there's a fire spreads, and, like, this is in the middle of, like, a copse of trees, and, like, it's getting out of control. He found your horse, time to fight. Ooh, that would be kind of an interesting twist on that. If he was like, yeah, actually, since this is only supposed to be troublesome, I like that a lot, Amanda. Why don't we have it like like this is a person who found your horse and is trying to like trying to run away on it.
Oh, okay. I didn't think I'd find my horse that quickly, but...
Well, I would imagine it's not just about finding, but also recovering, though.
Yeah.
So what if it's true. I mean, you didn't think it'd be that quick, but I like that it's kind of a twist where like stumble upon Thornberry, but haven't got them secured just yet.
Thornberry.
So yeah, well, let's go with that. Where maybe they're not fighting you right away, but very nervous around you, and as far as they're concerned, like who knows how long they've had Thornberry. This is their horse. Like,
yeah, maybe somebody else found Thornberry and assigned it to him.
Exactly. So let's get this person a name. Trying to harm it, maybe. We're gonna randomly determine a little bit about this person, what kind of personality they have. Maybe they are more mean to Thornberry than you would be. We'll see. So we've got a lot of random generators in this game, and one of them that I like doing, we've got character descriptor. We're gonna roll that a few times to get a sense of like, well, what are they like? Also, we're gonna do character role. What kind of person is it? Well, I guess we kind of know, like there's some kind of martial person who's abandoned their post. I'm gonna skip that one. Character goal, we know, like they're trying to escape, find safety of some kind. But character descriptor. Oppressed? Okay, yeah, that would be one of the reasons why they would certainly want to get out of wherever they were serving. Oppressed, quiet, and
it kind of goes along with what we were...
and infamous. What if this were a person, like, maybe they're coming from a community, and we're getting close to the big city, so he's probably running from there. What if maybe in that city, there's a little bit more in the way of, like, almost like in a community service type of thing, where there's people that are forced to do kind of like guard type duty. Like prisoners are like forced into doing that, and in like very dangerous spots. Yeah, what if this is some manner of infamous criminal type who is escaping? Yeah, maybe we don't even have to do it literally like escaping a battle or anything. Like just he's escaping the town.
Yeah.
On his way out, is a fugitive from the law. Expects to be chased after, and yeah, has managed to find his hands on Thornberry, and is making camp at this moment. Oh, and he's quiet because he's he's trying to lay low. But you stumble upon him, and due to this being a miss, he's certainly aware of you, and I think would have his hands on on his. Let's see. Would he immediately attack? Let's determine that randomly, or is he? Would he wait to gauge his options a little bit more? I put that as like a 50-50. I think either way could go, so we'll say that, yeah, we'll roll a 50-50 whether or not he just attacks you on the get-go. Or if not attack, at least is making threatening kind of gestures right from the get-go, or if he's more conversational at first. Yes, he would be threatening right from the get-go. So he's got a hand on a knife, very, very quickly has it out. I think, oh, you know what he's probably doing by the fire, the reason he stopped this close to town? I think he's trying to work his way out of the manacles.
Maybe he's infamous for being quiet. Maybe he never says a word.
It's just, I don't know he certainly wouldn't be infamous for that. That may be part of how people know of him. Like, I don't know if people are going to be telling the tale of just the man who never speaks. It would be like, that would be a detail on something else they'd be infamous for. Seems like that, like, hey, did you hear about that one guy who, what about him? Well, he didn't say anything. But he never said anything. He could certainly be mute, though. Like, or maybe have had, like, a tongue cut out or something like that. Might have a forced quietness on him now. But yeah, I think maybe they had a knife out or something trying to, like, jimmy some, like, locks or something to break out of manacles. And, now that he's got far enough from town to feel safe doing that, and sees you, and yeah, I think would immediately try and well, he has the horse there, so he could also just immediately try to escape. Yeah, why don't we here, I'll type that in chat for you. There you go. Yeah, I know we determined it through the oracle, but I feel like now that I think about it more, it just makes more sense and works with the vow more that I think he'd probably immediately just try and leave on the horse, and the moment is about like you see Thornberry, but unless something changes here, like it's about to make off with him. So he's trying to get on Thornberry. What do you do?
I just shout at him, "That's my horse!" Draw my sword.
Oh. This sounds like a great opportunity for using using one of our combat moves here. So we could like going to me. Hey, it's her horse. So we have, I guess, as is always the question, is this a combat that's important enough to you that you want to like go blow for blow on it, or just resolve it all in one move?
Yeah, I want my horse.
All right.
Oh, blow for blow. Yeah, let's go blow for blow.
All right, then we're gonna make an enter the fray move. This is set the rank of your foes. I feel like he's an infamous criminal, so he'd probably ordinarily be dangerous, but he is in shackles right now, so I feel like that brings him down to just troublesome.
Oh, he's in shackles. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was trying to jimmy his way out of them, and he's trying to get back to the horse, but thinking that you're chasing after him. He just wants to escape is more important than escaping the shackles. But yes, he's in shackles right now, so I think that would make him only troublesome. You are...
Okay, well, maybe I don't. I don't fight him right away. I just threaten him with my sword.
Okay, well then that sounds more like a compel move then, where through intimidation you're trying to get him to not leave. Sounds a little bit more like what's going on here. So let's go with that. So you're attempting to persuade him to not run off with Thornberry. And this is definitely through threatening or inciting, so this is an iron move. And
just be like, don't even try to get on that horse.
Now, unfortunately, it's one of your lower stats, but who knows? You never know how the dice turn, and you got a little bit of momentum. Let's find out. Does he take that seriously? Does he pay it any mind? It is a miss, and it is unfortunately low enough that momentum cannot help you here. So, rather, the momentum is low enough. So he, on a miss, they refuse or make a demand which costs you greatly. Pay the price. Well,
darn it.
So you were just trying to get him to stay. I mean, the making a demand which costs you greatly could certainly be about, like, hey, he has to get out of these shackles. I don't know if that's costing you greatly, though. Like, that's a cost, but I think it would have to be that and probably something in addition. I mean, it could just be about, like, and also more supplies for the road. Like, it could be about just, like, we'd have to sacrifice a supply because he needs provisions in this harsh winter. So, yeah. Why don't we run with that and have this quiet person respond to that, but, like, he turns around and is like cowers a bit, but goes, all right. Come on, you have to get me out of these shackles. And don't let me to die out in the road. Your coats.
Oh, you're. I didn't make out what you said. That last thing.
Your coats.
No.
He wants warm clothes and supplies.
Oh. Oh. Okay. But then we'll be cold.
And by the way, this will only get him to not leave. There's no agreement to like give up the horse or anything. He's just not leaving right now.
Okay.
And yes, you can play this game in 3 different modes. One of them is indeed solo, as I have done before. Being murdered means he won't be cold. Yeah, it's like
got a point there.
Breath is fogging up, and it's like okay, but you have to help me out. They'll be getting me back soon. Please. And he's like trying to do his best, like seeming weak and pathetic right now, like cowering before you. Like, you can't leave me to. You can't leave me to die out in the snow, would you?
I just take one of my extra blankets I'm carrying and hand it to him. Where did you get my horse?
Well, so first off, let me decrease our supply, and then also he goes first, because part of his demand was also getting me out of the shackles in order to not just leave. Basically, like unless you're a good enough help to him, he's gonna fuck off. Especially as a criminal type, he's not exactly all that much in terms of just being honorable. So he's just like, first the shackles. Can you get me out of these? I'll tell you anything after that. Whatever you want, just get me out.
I don't know if I want to do that. I don't even know you.
Well, here's the problem. This is part of a move we've already made. Like these are the repercussions of the miss that have. So it's either like it's either doing these things or he'll just refuse and he'll start leaving. Like these are already the consequences of a roll we've made. So it's
all right.
So you don't have to. It's just the other way is he'll indeed refuse. Like you can keep that supply, but he'll refuse and he'll start trying to make off on the horse.
Okay. I mean, I don't really know how to pick a lock. Do you, Chandra? Chandra.
She like shrugs her shoulders. Like, I don't know. I don't know about picking, but I mean, you could break the chain at least.
Okay. I'll just hack at it with my sword, I guess.
So it's like the moment in Titanic where like it's like trying desperately to like make the chain as taut as possible on the pole, and you're like, all right, hold on, stay really still. I'm gonna hatch it through this chain. Okay. Then
I hope I don't kill you.
Right? But like you only kind of hope that. Okay. Well, let's do this as it sounds like a good face danger then. It's not really a danger for you so much as for him, but it also sounds like you're doing it with aggressive action, forceful defense, strength, or endurance. So it sounds like an iron move to me. Unless actually no. It's more precision, because it's about hitting the right spot. So I think this is more about edge. It's making sure that you apply that force just in the right spot. You have control over your limbs, so let's make that edge move and see whether or not that works for you. Hey, weak hit, and barely a weak hit. It was only because he had just that one bastard of a die that just rolled as high as possible. Weak hit. I'm pretty sure that just means, oh yes, you're successful. Take +1 momentum. Cool. So yeah, you like line up. It's like easy, and ka-clang. Yeah, able to bash through this chain and pop it open with
Nice.
with the blade of your sword without hurting him. So he's like, oh, blessed freedom. You have no, can never fully appreciate it until it's been stricken from you for long enough. Thank you, by the way.
Now I ask you again, where did you get this horse?
It's a wild horse. Found him out in the fields and tamed him myself.
I don't consider Thornberry to be wild.
Thornberry? You've already named my horse?
This
What makes you
horse
so
belongs
attached?
to me.
This sounds like a great opportunity for another compel move to try and convince him. Or I assume you'd love to convince him to hand the horse over.
Yeah.
All right. Well, first things first.
There's no way.
I think we already have at least the one milestone of vowing to find Thornberry because you've run into somebody who's got possession. So I'm going to give you that first milestone on that.
Okay.
So we're going to fill that in real quick. Vow number 3. So what's your tactic here? How are you trying to convince him? Because right now it's very much in his best interest to be like, the fuck it is. Like, as far as he knows, like, he found the horse out in the wild, took it for himself. He's been riding on it a little bit. It's all working out for him, and it's very beneficial to have a horse. In the... Well, how do you try and convince him otherwise? Because he sees it as very much his own best interest to be like, fuck off, you don't have any proof.
Okay. Let's see what name he answers to.
Oh, interesting. I think this would be the first part of the compel, is like compelling him to accept those terms. Because in the same way, like, he's got nothing to gain here. So it'd be like, we'll see if you can convince him to bother with that. But an interesting idea. It definitely seems reasonable. Seems in the realm of charm, pacify, barter, or convince, rather than you're not threatening him, you're not lying or swindling him. So this is a heart move. It's good. You're good at heart. Let's see. Can you convince him to deal with this, and maybe convince him, like, yeah, it is your goddamn horse. You're not just making this up. So let's see. Gonna roll heart, and the blink. Weak hit again, which means they'll do what you want, but they ask something in return. This time it's not a demand that costs you greatly, but they at least they want something in return. So, but you also get +1 momentum on this. So let's see here. Move that up one more time. Boop, there. So starting to build quite a bit of momentum. It might help you soon. So let's see. What would he want in addition? It's probably more survival related stuff where, like, wants a oh, maybe it's maybe he's probably got some wounds as well from, like, in the escape like they were probably beating him a little bit. We determined before that he's oppressed. So he's probably got all sorts of, like, bad whip scars and stuff, and just injuries that need treating. So yeah, how about he maybe gets a look at like something in your pack and sees, like, some of the the herbalism stuff that you have there that's more soothing, and says, if I agree to play your little game, do you think maybe you could take a look at... He, like, turns his back and shows just, like, these horrible, like, welts, some older than others, some fresh, and just, like, just frozen blood. He looks kind of bad off on his back.
Jeez.
Do you think you might be able to take a look at that?
I just kind of cringe at the sight. You're like, Yeah, I think I could.
Okay. So how do you want to do this? Stand on opposite sides.
Yeah,
10 paces away. See what happens.
that sounds good.
Okay. Man, if I were playing this character right now, and he's not a player character, so he doesn't get to make moves. But I'm just imagining, like, if I'm thinking like he's my old Ironsworn Western Frontier character, Coyote Devereaux, and like he was just this shit liar. Like he was always swindling people. He was a real asshole of a person. And this is a situation he would definitely be doing the like, all right, I'm gonna make a move to secure an advantage by trying to, you know, waft the scent, like secretly waft the scent of a carrot or something over, and like how he'd be trying to get the horse to come over to him. But this is not a character. He's an NPC. He doesn't get to do stuff like that. It's all about what your character does. So I guess really this comes out like it's probably just a face danger or compel move. Like I guess yeah, it's a compel move for your. Well, no, I guess if I made it
for the horse.
Yeah, I guess if you compelled the horse, it wouldn't make sense if you got one of the outcomes that's like, the horse wants something in return, like that costs you greatly. Like that just wouldn't make any sense. So it may not even be a move so much as like just rolling an oracle and setting it is very likely that the horse would just do it, or like just randomly determining. Yeah, this is probably not a full-on move. I think that again, chat, can we agree that this is probably in the realm of almost certain, likely, 50-50, unlikely, or small chance? What do you think the chances are that Thornberry would respond to her, whom he's known longer, but hasn't seen in like a year, versus the new guy that he's known like more recently, but not all that long? We can agree. So yeah, we'll set this at almost certain or likely. Let's just go with we'll go with the almost certain. Yeah. All right, we're gonna roll this. It is almost certain that Thornberry will choose you. But let's find out if the dice agree. Yes. Thornberry will indeed start heading out, like when you're doing the ritual of, the calling the names, the TV classic, Thornberry indeed starts heading over your way. Ears.
Wait, I want to know what he named Thornberry. So I start calling Thornberry and going like,
that's true.
What does he call
I don't know if he's known your horse long enough to have actually, because he's just been escaping. I don't know if he's given a name yet. I think he was probably just like, here, boy, come to daddy. Like, it's probably more along
here, Fluffy.
More that sort of thing. Like, he probably doesn't have a name yet. He's just beckoning the horse over. Like, come here. Don't you want another of my sweets? Come on now. And I think that, God, again, I want to make sure this is truly accurate to, like, this was a miss that led to this. Like, something that was supposed to cost us greatly. Now, granted, we lost some supply and stuff, so it's not, like, there's a little bit of that, but... But okay, yeah, he's this infamous criminal. So, I think at this point, he's got his hands free. And, well, he wants you to treat the wound first, I guess. He's not going to do anything untoward until he's got all of that.
Mm.
So he goes, now, well, I suppose you may not have been lying after all. Certainly seems to like you at the very least. Now,
I'm petting him. Good boy, Thornberry.
I'd probably like you about as much if you do your end now. Think you can patch it up?
I think I can do that.
I don't think we need to roll for it because like he's not a character whose like health we care about or anything. Like I don't
Yeah.
I don't think we need to worry about like how well you do on the herbalism. I think it is like you do it, you spend some time doing it. Like the fiction, it happens, but I'm not gonna worry about the moment to moment. Like, did you get a strong hit or a weak hit on it? But there's some time spent doing that, and yeah, you've been petting Thornberry and everything, and he says, certainly it's your it seems like you have quite the rapport with the horse. What do you want for him? I think I could use him. I think I need him more than you do. And you obviously let him go. You obviously let him go. But I'm a kind man. I want to make things right. You seem to like him. You seem to think he's yours. He seems to think maybe he's yours. But I want to buy him off you. I don't have a lot, but name your price. What'll it take?
I'm sorry, this horse is not for sale, sir. This horse has sentimental value. He's a family horse, and I will return him to my brother.
See, here's the thing: is we've been wasting a lot of time here already, and you may not have been one of the people chasing after me, but I don't expect they're that far behind. With all this time wasted doing horse business and patching me up and everything, and sorry, not wasted, but spent. With all this time spent doing that sort of thing, I just feel like I need every advantage I can get to get out of here. Why don't you let me take him just for a bit? And I'll get once I get to the next town, I'll let Thornberry go. I'm sure he'll come back to you. He seems like a nice, sweet, very smart boy.
Now that I finally found him, I don't think I can part with him again. No deal. I can send you on your way with a few supplies, but that's it.
All right, let's do one final compel here to get him to agree to those kind of terms, as opposed to just like he may just in desperation again, like now that he's got everything he wants, just try and fuck off. Like he accepts it's your horse, but he wants it and he's not a very nice person. So let's see though. You're good at compelling, and you're being nice about it. You're using heart stuff. You're not threatening him or anything like that. So let's see. One final compel move to see how this goes. Ooh, a critical hit. I think if there was any question about you getting Thornberry out of this, that probably wrapped it up right there. Let's see. So not only do you get a strong hit, it's a full-on opportunity. We need to make this good. Oh, I have an idea, and I want to know if you're like what you think about this before we make it just officially what happens. Real quick, I just want to do the effects of the compel. So they'll do what you want, or sure, take +1 momentum. So we're doing that. Your momentum is now up to 6. So the idea I had for the opportunity. We know this isn't a very nice person. He's infamous. He's probably in prison for a very good reason. Even if he was oppressed. And they don't treat him well, but he was probably treating others very poorly beforehand as well. Just the circle of everybody's a shithead where he came from, apparently. I had an idea where maybe the opportunity is that these people that are hunting down this fugitive show up, and he and the opportunity would be if you were willing to, like, if you help them, like, basically capture him, like, make sure he doesn't escape right now, because he's gonna start trying to fucking get out of there. They'll give an escort back to the town, which is where we're heading, and we can basically just skip the rest of the journey. Like, you'll get there. They know the way. There's nothing that would stand in the way. How do you feel about that kind of opportunity?
Yeah.
All right.
That works.
Cool. Let's roll with that then. So yeah, like there's like he's like hemming and hawing a little bit about it, and like you were successful. So he's like whatever moves he was making to kind of like edge towards the horse and like think about just like getting out there. Like he stops and like you're in between them now. Like he's like I think the success of the move is like you at least like you delay him from doing something long enough that indeed like over the crest of some kind of hill. You hear these footsteps crunching in the snow, and there's like three people that come up, and once they lock eyes, or once they find him, and then I imagine like you're basically in between them right now, and he's like in the tableau this will eventually make like he's gonna be like trying to like stay behind you.
Okay.
But they come up over the hill and they see the camp and everything and they see him, and right now they assume because he's like getting behind you that like you're protecting him, but not in the sense of like oh so you must die too. They're just like, ma'am, that man behind you is a wanted fugitive. Turn him over. We need to bring him back into custody.
I just glance back at him and say, I'm sorry. Step aside.
And I think because this is an opportunity, like, we can determine, like, however it plays out exactly, like, one way or another, because he obviously tries to escape, but he's not going to be successful. Like, you're able to capitalize on this opportunity. So, what do you think that looks like? Like, is it like, are you full on, like, helping, like, take him down, or is it more just like you're standing out of the way and letting them do their business? Like, how does that look? Because he'd probably be trying to, in his panic, get back on Thornberry, but we know it won't be successful. But like, he'd be trying to do it. So, how active is your role in this? Making him not succeed that we know already happened?
Not very. I think it's out of my hands. They're the authorities, and since I'm heading into that town anyway, I don't want to make a bad impression.
Okay. So yeah, you like step out of the way, and like he's trying to like saddle up quick, like jump on Thornberry's back, but can't do it quick enough as they like rush up and grab him like as he's like halfway on, drags down. He probably takes a hard hit on the ground. Face mashes into the snow and get behind him, and they I guess they'd get like a fresh set of manacles or something on him since the one he's got are broken. And considering he's a president, they're probably, I think they'd like probably kick him a couple of times while he's down. And then just once or twice, and then like wrench him up pretty hard and say like while looking at the broken manacles, like, wily bastard, you thought you could break free, huh? Nobody, and I mean nobody, as they like turn him and get right in his face. Nobody escapes their justice. And like somewhere in this conversation, like one of them is talking to you about like where you're headed, and one way or another it becomes clear like that you're getting back to town, and like we this opportunity manifests about how like oh well we're all heading in the same direction. Why don't you follow along with us? There's safety in numbers. And so you've got Definitely have another milestone on Thornberry.
Yay.
Now
Marines.
we can try and just finish out this vow right now, but because like I can't think of any more progress to be made on it, given that we kind of skipped ahead a little bit on just because of the way the dice worked out. Now, mathematically, it would definitely be beneficial to like try and get one more milestone in first, if we can think of anything. Can you think of anything else that's still like a way to like is it about like maybe a psychological sort of thing of like you abandoned me and you need to like kind of get him a little bit back more on your side? I mean, he did come to you. What's your thinking?
Yeah. I don't really know. I didn't get enough information about this guy to begin with. I don't know what he's done.
Yeah.
Maybe I just toss him a bag of herbs and say, keep applying this every 5 hours.
To the prisoner? I was talking about Thornberry.
Oh, sorry. Thornberry.
Yeah. Because like you've got a lot of progress on the vowing to find Thornberry, and I can't off the top of my head think of a good way to like continue progress on that, even though like in game terms it would definitely be beneficial to try and find one more bit of progress before trying to like resolve that vow. But if we can't think of anything, we can just do it right here. It would make sense to me.
Okay. Yeah, I can't think of anything.
All right, then let's resolve our second vow. Vow to find Thornberry. So let's see, rolling 2d10. All right, a 3 and a 4. Thankfully, even without that extra milestone, you still get a strong hit on this. So, just as last time, there's no repercussions, nothing, no addenda on the vow. You get your one experience, and you've got Thornberry back. So,
yay!
Perfect. Now,
2 vows accomplished.
Exactly. I mean, that one was indeed just a troublesome vow. So you get one more experience. You're up to 3 total. So when we figure out how you want to spend those, now you'll have the ability to either upgrade one of your assets, or at this point, you can even afford a new one if there's something, when we get an opportunity to look over them a little bit more, if there's something that interests you, we can add a new dimension to your character.
Okay, sounds good. We'll hold off.
Yeah, I'll figure that out later. But you've got the experience to do it. So, yeah, they take you back to town, so we can skip the rest of the journey. That sounds like a good opportunity for you. And also sounds like, while we're doing this kind of cleanup stuff, also sounds like the first bit of progress on help Chandra find Muko. I think we talked about that last time, that the first step along the way would be get to this big town. So, let's mark a milestone on that. Boop.
Sounds good.
And, yeah. So, yeah, you make it into town. Let's finally find out a little bit about, like, what is this place? What's it called? What are the people like here? Where is it? You know, what's going on at this place?
Yeah.
So, settlement name. We have... This would be named after a word in an old world language. What culture is represented by this world? What does it translate to? Oh, I wanted the other one. I just wanted to do the quick settlement name, where it gives us a name real quick. It is Stormwatch. Oh, interestingly, like if this is indeed a little bit more of an oppressive kind of place, that Stormwatch could be just about like the people, like these guards could be called, the Stormwatch. And they are in such control of the town that the town itself is just also called Stormwatch. It is just a police state kind of settlement, I think. Where, it's not like everybody is necessarily miserable there as long as you fall in line. Like, if you obey the rules, it's fine, but the people in charge like being in charge, and they are going to exert their authority in a lot of different ways. But just play by the rules and you're fine.
So, very strict, authoritative town.
Yeah, I think that makes sense with what we've established about kind of the guards and the fact that this guy's oppressed and everything. Yeah, very strict kind of town. I want to find out a little bit about, like, the people here. Like, generally, like, are the people mostly okay with that and just accepting? They're like, yeah, it keeps us safe, so we're okay with this? Or is it more, you know, there's bubblings of rebellion? Like, let's find out. That sounds like a good just Oracle move, which we're making a lot of today, to just find out, like, how likely is that? Seems like, again, I feel like this could go either way. That I think it's 50-50, just as likely that they are just content with this and are mostly just, you know, they've kind of been broken and are subservient to the law, as they are just that there's a significant faction of people that are trying to overthrow it, and are like that there's an uprising bubbling. So
what if this is a town that took over the broken people? Or do you remember something about the broken? I feel like there was a type of people called the broken.
We did, yeah. We had established that they were a people that got to this land first a long, long time ago, like ages before our people arrived in the Ironlands. That there were people that are now like basically a feral people called the Broken. That something happened to them that just broke their minds. Okay. Yeah, gotcha. I think they're called Broken because I think at this point, like, I don't know if they even really have language. They're just they're so completely broken by something. We don't know what happened, but a long time ago, something in this land just literally just broke these people. Oh, were you thinking that because of indeed, like, broken in the sense of, like, being subservient? That they... Yeah. Like, these people might be, but I think they're not the Broken with a capital B. They just might be broken.
Okay, gotcha.
Let's see. So the question I'm asking the Oracle is there a significant faction in this town that is trying to revolt against this? And I'm putting it as 50-50. Let's see. No. Okay. Apparently there is peace in this tranquility right now, or not tranquility, in this state of oppression, that they're people, at least on the whole, any individual may vary, but on the whole, people are accepting of this. They more like it than they don't. And while I think that there's definitely some class divides and people that are benefiting from this more than not, whether just broken by the system or like truly appreciative of it, one way or another, people are generally happy about this, or at least content, not doing anything to change it.
Okay.
And so you reach Stormwatch, and the guards who have we never even gave that guy a name, who have prisoner in just brackets,
prisoner,
who have infamous oppressed prisoner. I feel like if he's infamous, we should at least give him the service of giving him a name, because that's a person that could show up again. Who knows how many times he might escape. Let's give him a name. An infamous, like, if for no other reason than people can talk about him, like, you helped return an infamous person, like, that's some people might that could be worth
earn us
something.
Brownie points.
Yeah, exactly. So if for just that reason you should have a name, just so we can talk about him. So let's see, Ironlander names. Non.
Non.
Nan. Non.
I don't like it.
You don't like it? You want to roll again?
Oh, okay. Yeah. He's not a non.
Emmeline. He may not be a he. Emmeline definitely sounds like more of a gal. Maybe at first, maybe Emmeline was like, to make it make sense of the fiction we've had so far. Maybe Emmeline was kind of like a little bit more playing as a male person. Like, kind of a little bit more dirty and, like, covered up in enough clothes, had all the stuff that kind of looked like stubble, and, like, probably hair that in this oppressed state had probably been shaved down, and so, like, you just kind of can look kind of male, and was playing into that and just putting on a more masculine sounding voice. And now, once you get to the town and, like, something happens where you can tell, like, oh, like,
we're all like, thanks for bringing her back, and we're like,
yeah, and it suddenly hits you like, wait, her? Yeah, I think it. Emmeline, you thought was a man. You assumed Emmeline's gender, and turns out it was wrong. So yeah,
I like that.
Emmeline, and I feel like Emmeline should have like some kind of title or something, but like the Emmeline the something that kind of alludes to what they're infamous for. Let's roll on the theme table. I want to. For some reason, like I'm very
Emmeline the Sly.
Like I'm really interested in Emmeline, even that like she's just an NPC, but I don't know. She's got the makings of like a character that I like enough that I want to know a little bit more about like what she's infamous for. Like that infamous, just I can't let go of that. So real quick, I'm gonna roll on the theme table to get an idea of like what's Emmeline infamous for. God. Prize.
I like that name.
Emmeline's cool, yeah. Prize. I mean, in the there's a thing that I keep wanting to go back to, but we established in the Oracle that like, okay, so how about this? She may be a prize of the state here, in the sense that like, what if Emmeline is the type of person that doesn't like how authoritarian this place is? Thought that she had the support of the people to try and make an uprising, but she was wrong. And word got out, she is like a political prisoner type of thing. And so she's a prize in the sense that like the police state here wants to shut her the fuck up. And is their most valuable prisoner because she could be the cause of turmoil, but she hasn't like, because they were able to stop her in time, she wasn't able to.
Okay.
Nice. I'm glad you're really enjoying it. I am a huge fan of the game as well. There's actually it's an active Discord for Ironsworn with a cool community, and it's I'm a big fan of the game. It does a lot of the things, scratches a lot of the itches that I seek, that I have concerning games. I'm glad you're liking it too. So we know a little bit about Emmeline. She's like, she'd probably be called like Emmeline the
Emmeline the Upriser?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think.
But they wouldn't call her that.
Exactly. Like, I feel like thinking of the right word for it.
I feel like the authorities would give her
something more negative and like condescending of a name, like because she failed, right? Like she thought that she had the people on her side, and she was completely wrong. And so it would probably be a nickname about that, about how
Emmeline the troublemaker,
like the fool, maybe even like. They might just call her Emmeline the Fool. Or like the Alone.
The Alone.
Like something that indicates that
Emmeline the Failure. Let's just...
They probably have all sorts of things they call her, but we know a little bit about Emmeline. They'd always be grousing on her for being, alone and a fool and
maybe
a failure.
There's a town word like that outsiders wouldn't know, that just means upriser. That's like, it's a bad word. You don't want people uprising. So like Muggle is in Harry Potter.
Yeah, the type of thing where
Emmeline the Muggle.
Yeah, you don't want to be one of those because then there's trouble for those people.
Exactly.
Even though we've established most people are not. It's just the thing that you. But this could be a situation like a Soviet kind of situation where it's like, even if you're generally not being a problem, you may be seen as a problem. There may be people that are classified problems even if they're trying not to be. I don't know how bad this town gets. We might find that out in play. But speaking of play, let's try and get a little bit more done before we're almost out of time here. So you get to the town. They bring off Emmeline somewhere. She is, I feel like, not even putting up that much of a fuss right now because the numbers are on her. They've got her, and like if she's gonna escape, it's not gonna be in this moment. It's got to be later. Like she's just kind of resigned to her fate at the moment, and is like carted off. Chandra, however, now that you've reached the town, is very eager to get on the trail of like, all right, where do you think he'd be? You think he's at least passed through here?
I don't even know if he would be here. I don't know if he's the type of wizard.
Yeah, Flint is
seen with
probably
the likes of these people.
Flint is. Oh, that's true. Yeah, Flint is probably thinking something along the lines of. Yeah, no, you're right. I highly doubt he would still be here, but if he passed,
There's a chance.
if he passed through, wouldn't be a bad thing to hit some manner of public house or see what kind of place a traveler can stop at to resupply and eat, drink, and be merry.
A B&B?
B&B, whatever they might have. I imagine any
tavern?
Any kind of traveler would be looking for the same sort of thing.
Maybe there are taverns with accommodations that he'd be staying at. Yeah, an inn.
Yeah. Tavern. Could be. But I definitely wouldn't get your hopes up about him being here. Maybe somebody saw him.
I feel like there'd be rules or laws against wizards.
Yeah, among the various things that are problematic, I think especially his style of magic that keeps making problems, I feel like would be just such a butting up against the order that they're seeking so much. Yeah, I don't think he would have a very comfortable home here. So, no. If he was here, I don't think he was here for very long, but...
He'd make trouble and then they'd be like, move along.
Yeah.
Get out of our town.
So what's the plan here? What are you gonna look for a place like that, or like asking some questions around? Like, what's the plan here?
I feel like we still would ask around and look for him.
Okay.
But,
well, that can easily be done with there's a gather information move that we can do here.
Yeah.
When you search an area, ask questions, conduct an investigation, or follow a track. You're doing basically all of these things. You're searching an area, asking questions, conducting an investigation so that you can follow a track. So I think this move qualifies. So it's a wits move. You're not acting within a community or asking a question of a person with whom you share a bond, so you don't get to do that. The one thing I do want to remind, though, is that both of us, I believe, started this game. We did the option where we have bonds out in the world that we haven't established. Like, I made a bond with the community that we left home from in the very beginning. I had a bond with them, and then my other two bonds that you get to start with, I left undefined. So anytime in the world that you want to establish, like, hey, no, you know what, I think I do have a bond with this community, or I do have a bond with this person, always up to you. We'll probably ask some questions about it then to find out more about, like, so how do you know them and what's your history? But we have that option at any given point. Now, I'm not saying that it makes sense for you to have a bond with this community. I doubt it, since we didn't even know much about this town. But just as a reminder, at any given time we could establish, like, hey, actually, I want to already know that character. They sound cool. Maybe I have a history with ... And we'll fill in that history as we go.
Okay.
But let's do that wits roll. Let's conduct this investigation to see, can you get any kind of bearings on, like, does anybody here know who you're talking about? Do they know anything about him? So, wits. Ooh. The devil happened there, because if you had one higher momentum, you could actually, you would have been able to change that into a critical hit. However, since you have 6 momentum and then 6 and 6 on the challenge dice, and your action score was low, like, we unfortunately have a critical fail.
I should have used those experience points.
And I think what makes most sense here is, like, we keep talking about this is a police state, like, and we're looking for a good moment to go out on. I think it makes a lot of sense that maybe the types of questions you're asking are being seen as political dissident type of thing. Like maybe we talk about how he wouldn't fit in here. Like, you're seen as a little bit too friendly or associated with a person that did not have a good reputation here, and and as a result of all of that, I think it would be an interesting complication if we have to start off next time with a prison escape, or otherwise, or a trial or whatever. But are you okay with that result of the complication being you get imprisoned, or is that too much?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Cool. Then, yeah. So somehow in this investigation, word gets around about this newcomer that, well, to be clear, the experience that she could use would be for very specific things that would not undo this situation right now. They would, like, and it'll give more...
Yeah, it's kind of too late.
Yeah. But yeah.
Maybe we were...
Sorry, go ahead.
Asking too many questions.
That's the thing. Like, they probably don't like people asking a lot of questions in general. And then even... Yeah, no worries, Brandflake. Yeah, they probably don't like a lot of questions in general, and then specifically about Muko, it was probably even worse. Now,
nice.
I think next time the thing to consider is, of course, that you have that leverage. Like, we're not going to play it out more right now. I think it's close enough to a cool enough moment that we'll end there. But like, just remember for next time that you have kind of the leverage of you brought in an infamous criminal. So when you're trying to talk your way out of the situation or get them to release you, like when you're on trial next time, that'll be the thing to consider. It might be helpful in your defense. So yeah, I think... Real quick, let's roll an Oracle. Let's find out if Chandra is imprisoned as well, or if it's just you. Like, basically, yeah, did you wind up separating a little bit to kind of, like, conduct your investigation separately and you were going to meet up later, or were you both kind of captured at the, like, we'll find out. Because who knows, you may have a friend on the outside.
I was going to say, we probably started at the bars, at the taverns, and maybe one of us got drunk.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
I feel like Chandra would.
Probably. So, chat, what do you think the chances are that that Chandra is also arrested? Almost certain, likely, 50-50, unlikely, or small chance. We're going to set the chances of this. We're going to find out whether or not Chandra is also in that prison. And then we're going to wrap things up around here. And maybe have an opportunity to 50-50? Yeah, I'd be inclined to agree. That's probably just in the middle. Like, it could go either way. Gotcha.
I'll say 50-50 as well.
All right, let's just go with 50-50. So the question is Chandra also arrested? Or imprisoned, rather. Yes. So you're both in prison.
Dang it.
That was like so far in the sure thing that it was a 96. Anything above 51 was it just really went there. So Chandra will also be arrested, and of course, since you're holding since I'm on your body, I'm in a sense also arrested.
Flynn is arrested by default.
I'm arrested by default. And yeah, so let's just fill in just a little bit more for detail before we walk out. Like, let's set the moment when it happens. Let's paint this picture so we can have kind of like a nice cinematic sort of ending to this. So you think...
I want it to be in the tavern.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, so you're in the taverns, you're asking questions and everything. And, I should also just check to see what all happens when you get a miss on gather information. Yeah, your investigation unearths a dire threat or reveals an unwelcome truth that undermines your quest. That, along the complication, was definitely you getting arrested. But on a miss, it can unearth a dire truth. So I think, yeah, you're in the middle of talking about this Muko. And I think you're starting to get that impression is, like, people are looking around uncomfortably as you keep talking about him. And, like, one of the people that's you're more close with at the table is maybe saying something along the lines of how, like, you must not keep talking. He's not welcome here. You can't. And, like, I don't know. There's kind of a moment where there's people that are getting all, like, all defensive about it, and, like, they don't want to answer, and
Mhm.
And perhaps they're otherwise spending time in the tavern when do you think, like, as a way to make sense of this, like maybe you had a few drinks or something and like it was otherwise merry, there's just, yeah, like maybe it wasn't that full on like, oh my god, dude, don't talk about him, but like people just were standoffish about it and just like, you probably shouldn't mention him. He's
Mhm.
didn't do all that well there, but then otherwise they were kind of talking and like being merry with you. But then on your way out, like somebody snitched. Like there was somebody midway through that probably like made their way out to report on you. And then
Mhm.
as you were, what do you prefer? Is it the like you jumped on the way out, like, you know, a good eve? Are you having a good stroll? And like they take you in like on your way back out, or do they full on like come into the tavern and like this is a raid kind of thing, and they bring you in? Oh, in fact, no. You know what? Yes, I have an idea here. I want to make this not just a miss, but like that was a pretty high roll of a complication. Like there's a kind of there's a rule in the game. It's an optional one that like the higher the dice are when you get a complication, the worse it should be. You know what I like the idea of? What if, you know, not only are you arrested, not only is Chandra arrested, but like they raid the tavern and everybody is like guilty by association. Like a lot of people get arrested that night because maybe they are talking to you about Muko, and then
Oh.
like one person says something about it. Yeah, it's a raid. Like one person sneaks off to report on it because they're uncomfortable about it, but people were talking to you about him a little bit, enough that I think we can get a milestone out of this. Like maybe they say, like they tell you about how he didn't find a very good home here, and he wound up having to uh he wound up fleeing because people didn't take very kindly to the disruptions he was causing, and blah 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 blah. Just enough to get that one more hit of progress. But then the raid happens, and a lot of people are arrested because they were all talking about him, and yeah, there's just like a big force like kicks down the door, and they're like, you know, they've got their batons out, they're like they're wooden clubs, they're just, you know, they're hitting people over the head and taking people in. It's, if they had a
Maybe they're afraid Muko would cause an uprising. Maybe the people
yeah, and
that were didn't
maybe
like being oppressed.
maybe Muko
wanted
is
him out.
involved with Emmeline.
Oh.
Maybe he was part of the reason why Emmeline started doing, like maybe they were talking, and he's partly responsible. So like,
Yeah.
yeah. So for whatever reason, whether you had too many drinks or you were just too outnumbered, one way or another, you were not able to succeed, and you were imprisoned, as were a lot of other people, and a lot of people were injured, and it was a bad time. And we go out probably. I see this as like the camera is like looking down as it pulls higher and higher as it gets wider and wider, as we just see from like a bird's eye view high up in this building, like the just chaos of like, you know, basically the stormtroopers coming in, or the storm, what were they called, the storm watch, as the storm watch comes in and like is just like hitting people over the head. People are like curled up on the floor and they're kicking them, and like just this scene of bad violence and like knocking over tables and breaking things. And we just see it from wider and wider, and it's just bad. And then credits.
Those bastards.
Yeah. So we're gonna start off next time at the repercussions of that, like inside the prison. And well, yeah, I said stormtroopers because like they're stormtroopers doesn't only literally mean from Star Wars. There's a reason they're called stormtroopers.
Maybe they are called stormtroopers. They're just,
yeah,
it's just a coincidence.
The troopers of the Stormwatch.
The original troopers.
Yeah. So yeah,
This would have been before.
We were
Star
off.
Wars.
We were definitely off to a. Yes, this was a. Star Wars was a long time ago, but this is even longer than that. So, yeah, we started off definitely with like a slow boil on this, a little bit more like some role playing stuff and like working towards it. But I'm so excited about the way it ended, and like this just oppressive town and like people that don't want to uprise. But now we've got you in prison, and we've got also. I love the image of swearing a vow on the iron bars of your prison cage.
Oh.
Like, you're about to be put in an iron cell. It's so perfect to be, like, leaning against the bars and swearing on them. Like, something. I don't even know what it'll be, but
there will be more Ironsworns.
Exactly. Oh no! Wait, I guess you don't. If you hadn't finished if we hadn't like resolved your vow about your horse, it could be like you got him, but then we're taken right back away. But no, you resolved that vow, so I think Thornberry is probably just like in a stable somewhere or something. Like he's not gonna be lost again. Sort of somehow accidentally skipping like a year of time again. You'll be fine.
Yeah, they've confiscated our belongings, but
yeah.
They're safe.
Exactly. So you probably won't have like your sword or any kind of weaponry or anything like that, and they've probably been, since they're so authoritarian here, I imagine next time we'll probably find you in like, they'll have probably taken your clothes and you're in just like the equivalent of like wearing a potato sack kind of thing. Like you're wearing like threadbare kind of just like, this is your uniform now.
That's okay. I'll rock that potato sack.
Yeah. But anyway, we'll have to explore that more next time because we're out of time.
Yep.
Blink, why don't you tell us a little bit about what can we catch over on twitch.tv/BlinkenFireflies? And she is indeed another streamer.
Oh, yeah. If you like lullabies and piano and singing and ukulele, check out my channel.
Please do.
I'll give you plenty of that.
It'll definitely be worth your time. I heartily recommend you head over there and give her a follow if you've not already done so. I'm, of course, over here on twitch.tv/MidnightJester8. And apart from doing Ironsworn streams, I do cello request streams on Sundays. And that's 5 to 9 p.m. Pacific time. And occasionally some other just like games and stuff like that during the week. I'm trying to do more of it. But the two main streams that you can count on are this on Tuesdays, and granted, today we're doing it on a Wednesday, but that's just this week. This on Tuesday nights, and cello request streams on Sunday nights. There's going to be a bonus stream this Saturday, though. Saturday from 1 to 5 p.m. Pacific time, we got a very special stream. I'm going to be joined by Vargon, another cellist here on Twitch, who is amazing. We're going to be doing a co-stream right here in this room. So that'll be this Saturday, 1 to 5 p.m. Pacific time. Going to be a great time. I hope to see y'all there. Otherwise, this episode, as with all of them, will probably be online on YouTube by tomorrow night. It takes a little time to get it ready, but if you've not caught up with all the episodes yet, if you're a little bit in the weeds on like, wait, what exactly was going on? How'd you get there? That's because there have been 8 episodes before this, and they are all available on my YouTube page. There's a link down below the video player. You can catch up on all the previous sessions. And if you like the game and you're like, it's intriguing, I like the way this kind of unfolded stories, because you should know, literally 0 of this was planned. We never go in with any plans on how the session is going. It's all just off the cuff. And the reason we can do that is because this game is very well designed to foster that kind of gameplay. And if that intrigues you, if you want a game that you can play literally by yourself with no planning, with no GM, I highly recommend you go to ironswornrpg.com. Check it out. It is pay what you want. You can get a free copy of the PDFs. It is just amazingly well put together. I can't recommend it highly enough. Yeah. Otherwise, I think that's been it for this session. I will see you guys again for session 10. Go in there today. Awesome. I'll see you for session 10 next week, next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Pacific time. We'll be doing session 10. Now, we're going to have to find out. Again, my last game of this lasted exactly 10 sessions, and my character died in session 10. We're starting off in prison this time. I'm in an authoritative, kind of oppressive place. There's things lining up here. I want to beat the 10 session record, but we're gonna have to find out whether or not that happens next time. So see y'all then. Have a great rest of your evenings, and good night, everybody.